Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for standing by. We're so excited to kick off this series of workshops. We had another call for team formation. That's why we had some technical issues and delays. But Farhan is with us right now and he'll kick us off. Please let us know in the chat where you all are connecting from.
Yes, exactly. Sorry for the delay. There were so many interesting ideas that it took some time to make this start on time. But we have people from Siberia, Los Angeles, Germany, Gothenburg, Nepal. Wow, amazing. Barcelona. That's great. So what we are doing is I will before I think David is also here. Yes, perfect. Hello, David. Nigel is probably coming by as well. We are starting with first, David, we are starting with you, right? First.
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect,
I'm ready to
perfect,
go.
perfect, perfect. For those who were also curious about the other sessions, our team will share. Actually, I can just share one QR code for everyone, just to make sure that anyone who wants to join the other sessions throughout the next 10 days, this is just the kickstarting day. So feel free to basically take this um, chat. In the chat, we also add the QR, the link, but you can also take the QR code. And this is the link that is our calendar of events, including the hackathon. So feel free to join these sessions. And we are kicking off with this one. And for those who are planning to join the hackathon, as you know, we have a lot of opportunities, including prize pools, mentors, SIGGRAPH opportunities, and you can basically bring your up to 4 people team here. Without further ado, I will hand over to David and Nigel. Um, but one thing that I would like to share, David, thank you very much for really joining because I know that you are very busy, like you are in 3 events at the same time, I know, but thanks for making this possible. So David will share what kind of magic that he's already doing with word models and splats. And afterwards, Nigel will share about the splat analyzer.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me? See me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So let me get the screen share going. But my name is David, and the idea I'm going to show you today is something I've been working on that I'm just like loosely calling the 3D GS Morph Lab. The nerd explanation is that it's an interactive browser-based sandbox that lets me explore with fractal effects, spatial morphs, and unique 3D GS effects on any platform. And I'm specifically targeting XR because I'm a huge XR nerd. But the simple way to say that is we're vibe coding realities here. And I really am excited about the idea of being able to vibe code realities and all of that being grounded by things like world models and stuff. So what does that look like? So here we have the deployment, and you can kind of see it's like a fractal generator and stuff. And I'll go into it in more detail, but the idea is I've created like a really hardcore fractal simulator. So a little bit about myself. Basically, I am currently head of community at a company called Lightwheel AI. We deal with world models and physical AI training, providing large scale training data to robotics companies and stuff. That's my LinkedIn QR code. If anybody wants to connect, I'll show it at the end. And let's see, how did I get here? So essentially, I've been doing 3D scanning since about 2014 when I started working at a museum, and I wanted like a really powerful way to bring real world objects into virtual spaces. And eventually that morphed to doing a lot of photogrammetry inside of XR headsets and stuff. And in 2022, I started playing around with Instant NGP, and that led to me joining Luma AI as one of the first employees. And Luma AI was one of the first radiance field platforms that allowed you to generate 3D Gaussian splats and other types of radiance fields online. So since then, I've worked at a few other companies, but the basic idea is I'm in the real heavy in the AI space, and the way I interact with AI models is primarily through visual models and stuff. So I know this is like the first presentation here. You can maybe screenshot this because I'm not going to go through all of this, but essentially everything I'm going to show you is based off world models, which is an AI mental model that tries to understand all of the nuance of reality, all of the way that lighting works, all of the way that different textures and stuff work. For this project, I'm using World Labs, which is one of the leading young world model startups. They recently raised about 1.23 billion, and they're going to be heavily involved in the programming over the next few weeks. And a radiance field is basically a representation of all of the different rays of light that compose a scene. Through a radiance field, you can have a scene that captures reflections, transparency, all of that good stuff. And how we're representing this is using a 3D Gaussian splat. A 3D Gaussian splat is basically using old school rendering techniques to simplify ray tracing, and then we go through and you can render it at a couple hundred frames a second. And so the radiance or the 3D Gaussian splat is critical to this project because not only does it allow us to basically render these really fast at scale, but it also allows us to manipulate them. And everything we're doing here is a manipulation. So, real quick, just to show you some stuff I've worked on previously. I've worked on stuff with large brands like McDonald's, a lot of NBA teams and stuff. So I've been working in the radiance field space since the early beginning. But the problem with this is this was always really clunky. This was all duct taped together. We were making stuff up as we were going along, right? And so, nowadays we do have a decent number of tools you can use. You can now start doing stuff in Blender. You can start doing stuff in Houdini. But that's a huge ask to have somebody go and like learn Blender or learn Houdini for a project. That's a huge ask. And so even today, everything's still clunky. So my goal with this project is to essentially create something that I can open source that allows us to shorten the time it takes to do cool visual effects. So for this, I'm using Marble, just in case anybody's never used it before. Basically, you can type a prompt, you can add an image, and within a few minutes, you get this fully interactive 3D Gaussian splat, super high quality. It's rendering all of the lighting and stuff as if, it were real, all the parallax. So all of this project is using generative AI through Marble, but theoretically, you can use anything on this platform. And one of the things I'm trying to copy here is some work we did at Luma AI. So early on, we did something called Magic Reveal, and Magic Reveal is a way we use to hide the loading animation. It looks like this, and this became insanely popular. When we launched this within about a week or two, 90% of the posts that people were tagging on us at Luma were just this Magic Reveal effect because it's really cool and you can like see through objects. It's clearly not 2D, it's some sort of 3D. And so we developed that, but then we never really iterated it. We had some cool ideas and we even had some internal experiments, but we never really left it. So what I'm going to show you today is just an extension of that research. So the goal here is to vibe code a fully interactive environment where we can just play around with reality. I want to be able to do all sorts of psychedelic morph effects, scene transitions, interactive mechanisms, and I want it to run at 90 frames a second on Vision Pro and 72 frames a second on Quest 3. And I want it to have really robust performance and debugging tools. And then I want to open source it because I want other people to not have to spend as many tokens and time as I did to get where I've gotten. And the reason I'm doing this is, like I said, despite billions of dollars of investment, everything's still real duct taped together. There's a handful of plugins, but they kind of work. The engines themselves don't have native support. So you can go into Blender, you can go in Unreal Engine, but this is like a plugin sitting on top of something that just has no idea what 3DGS is. Nothing is native. And so by building this in WebXR or WebGL using all of the wonderful tools that World Labs has created, we can build our own sandbox, make our own rules, make our own rendering stack. So to make this, I'm using World Labs Spark 2, 3JS, and React 3 Fiber. And this is really good because this is built from the ground up to render splats. It renders splats phenomenally, and there's no additional overhead and stuff. I'm using OpenAI Codex for the coding agent. I'm doing this over Claude Code because it's dramatically cheaper. I get like 5 times more token usage, so I'm able to sit there and spam out different, prototypes and stuff. I'm using Vercel to host on Quest 3 because if you're hosting on Quest 3, you need to have like a secure host to do the HTTPS stuff. And the endpoints are, like I said, browser, Quest 3, and Apple Vision Pro. So if you want to try it out right here, here's the URL, morph-lab.vercel.app. And if you click that, it'll bring you here. And so here you have your typical 3D environment, right? And I've set up some demo buttons on the side here. And with a few quick buttons, you can start like blending and morphing these fractals. On the right here, I have all sorts of different experimental morph effects. And so through this, we can go through and let's see. Through this, we have like dozens and dozens and dozens of different effects that we can add on. We have, sorry, displacement effects. It's been a few weeks since I've looked at this, but essentially you have dozens and dozens of different fractals that you can load into here. Here we go. And so through here, you can see these are two different splats and they're actually volumetric. This isn't just like a 2D overlay. And you can do a lot of really, really powerful stuff with 2D overlays in 3JS, but this is all like really, really, really high end, just like crazy, crazy fractal stuff that you can load in. And I have about 150 fractals in here right now. Some of them I've kind of disabled, but the idea is I'm going through and I'm just prompting. I'm finding visual references and I'm prompting it. And then I'm also using things like shaders. I'm finding shader code and I'm ingesting all of this shader code to come in and create all of these different type of psychedelic effects. And so one of the things you can do with this is different scene morphs. So like I said, with Luma, we had that really, really powerful load in effect, but now you can do this with fractals and you can do this between any sort of scene. So just to play that again, instead of this just being a really simple dissolve, I'm going through and I'm actually melting and blending these splats together to create much more nuanced effect. And if you go in and play with this, there's all sorts of different parameters and stuff you can play with. So really just trying to make it so where we can do a lot of really cool stuff really easily. The other real grounding point here is displacement effects. So in this, we're taking the splat and we're applying different math to physically displace it. So here I have like a little debug tool turned on, but I can turn that off and you can kind of see what's going on here. We're actually like melting and warping this. And it's the same sort of thing where I have like dozens and dozens and dozens of different types of effects in here. And the idea here is this isn't maybe something that's static. You can go in through this and theoretically, you can go in and link this to hand tracking, link this to gaze, link this to movement of the head. You can do all sorts of different types of these like fractal melting effects, and you can do it like in real time, really super fast. And so the idea is I'm just going to build like a giant library or presets here, and then ideally when I open source it, you'll be able to go in and use all of the context that I've given the LLM to be able to create these like melting warping effects. And so all of this is because it's all 3D, it all natively works in VR. And so it's really, really cool to like reach out and touch something and have it explode into fractals and stuff. So that's kind of the core of what I've built here. Like I said, I plan on open sourcing this in the next few weeks. If this is something that interests you, I'm happy to send over the project early. But yeah, the idea here is just I want to be able to take all of these morphing melting effects and not have to send somebody to Blender, not have to send somebody to Houdini. And ideally, this is something that hopefully pushes forward the conversation because we've had the technology to do this for a year or two, but there's really no easy to use tech stack to get it done. And so I'm just hoping that, if I open source this, other people open source this, we get into a situation where we just have a lot cooler tools. And then I just wanted to share a few quick lessons that I learned here. Oops, hidden behind the Zoom thing. So some quick lessons I've learned here and stuff. So the first thing is I would spend a generous amount of time if you do anything sort of vibe coding, spend a generous amount of tokens creating different debug consoles and stuff. So you can see here one of my debug consoles. And what's really great is you instantly know what's happening and you can just screenshot that and send that to the LLM and it's instantly able to diagnose problems. And it's a lot easier than using things like logs and stuff. Just having really, really robust like visual debug tools is how I got this to where it is so quickly. I also would plan out the interface system from the start because if you try to develop something for entirely desktop and then you go to XR, it's going to require a complete rewrite. So from the beginning prompt, like make sure that you're trying to build everything in synchronicity and unity. So through the course of your project, once you start to mess around in the headset, if you do that or mess around on other devices, it just works. And as part of that, your agents.md needs to be on point. I revisit it often. Almost every day, I look at my agents.md and make sure that I'm not like tainting my project with bad advice. I leverage all of my multimodal prompting for best results. So instead of just uploading a photo, instead of just using text, I'm uploading videos, I'm uploading shader code. I'm saying, hey, this is like a really cool effect I like, deconstruct it. And so using multimodal prompting is your best friend for something like this. And then the last thing I'd say is manually compress your context window at regular intervals because ChatGPT and Claude, they will automatically compress your context window, but they'll do it in a rush. It's like their hands are full and they're just trying to figure out how to balance stuff. So if you do that before your context window gets too large, your performance across your entire session will be a lot more robust. Yeah, there's my LinkedIn code again if you want to chat with me or add me. And if you want to try the app, there you can. If anybody wants to play with this, I'm happy to send you the code base. Cool.
Wonderful, David. Thank you for this quick thing. I know that we had 15 minutes, but everyone is worried about your battery, so we have to be quick about your Q&A as
Oh,
well. I
oh
just want to
wow.
make sure.
I'll plug that in. But yeah, if there's any
Perfect.
questions, I can answer them.
No one wants to lose you in the most like the exciting moment of your session. So that's great. At least we safely finished. Now we are secure, but still we need you for a few more minutes because there are questions. But please add the questions, everyone, under the Q&A tab, not inside the chat. Chat is like uh, quite like going fast, so it's impossible for us. Um,
Yeah. I don't know if you
so
saw, but at a certain point, my watch started blowing up with all the notifications. I had to like
okay.
throw it across the room.
Okay, perfect. So let me start throwing the questions. Leonard asks, in the fractal mixing example, do the splats interact with each other for capabilities like lighting and shadows? Fractal mixing example. I think David is coming. Do you have any examples?
Around with things.
Okay, so in the fractal mixing example, do the splats interact with each other for capabilities like lighting and shadows?
So right now it's kind of dumb. In the future, the goal is to link everything. And I have a PBR layer where I'm trying to convert everything to a PBR texture. That way I can use PBR as like the middle ground between everything. But yeah, right now it's kind of dumb. And I'm using things to like sample each of the splats, then maybe like blend very stupidly. In the future, though, the goal is to like make these something like a PBR asset that's being generated in real time, and then use that shader to more accurately blend and morph it. PBR is physics-based rendering. It is a type of shader system that allows you to simulate things like water or different physical materials. And so by leveraging PBR and assigning each one of the splats a PBR texture and then mixing and matching them, you get beyond simple basic morphing or alpha transparency, dodge, those like basic opacity effects. But right now it's dumb.
Okay. Do you have any examples of work with Gaussian splats of real reality, not AI generated scenes? Like not
Um,
synthetic.
Yes, I don't have it loaded in the project right now, but yeah, I've been doing splats since like 2022, so I have a library of like 15,000 of them, and that's kind of like the real goal here. Like, obviously, I think the generative splats are really cool, but I have like a lot of my memories in these platforms, in these splats, and so the idea is ideally I would be able to make like a time machine where I'm able to go through and visit different places or different memories in time, and one of the things that this works really well with is the Apple Sharp thing. Apple Sharp is this really, really cool thing that allows you to upload an image and then it creates a really, really, really good splat actually. And so right now, I have mostly been playing around with the Apple Sharp splats with this tool because they're lightweight. They're under 1 million splats usually. But yeah, I have like really, really, really robust, like complete environments, and it does work. But you start getting into needing to chip away at the splat count to hit performance. And so
Hmm,
that's kind
yeah.
of the trade-off right now. I'm finding that on my MacBook M5, I'm able to render about 4 million splats comfortably.
Oof, amazing, amazing. That's great. I think next generation, our children, grandchildren, will not like if we show them a photo album of our life or their childhood, right? So I think you will be very like a the favorite person in terms of having all of these recent technology photo albums, splat-based, depth-based photo albums. So that's amazing, or
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah. And
That's
another thing that, speaking about real world, I have like a ton of aerial splats of like city skylines, entire city blocks, and yeah, taking like entire cities and making them melt and stuff. Really, really cool.
amazing, amazing. Yeah, there is actually one hack project that would like to connect their drone data as well to the geo spatial data. So I think that's also interesting. So Nicholas is asking, does Morph Lab run in real time in like Quest 3 hardware, or is it something that's pre-baked?
So right now, after my latest batch of updates, it's targeting about 50 frames a second on Quest 3, and I can chip away at that a little more to hit higher frame rates. But yeah, it's running at about 50 frames a second on Quest 3. And there are a few quality levers that I can hit, specifically like the sample, what's it called? I haven't even really played around with the foveation and stuff in the Worlds Lab tool. One of the things that's really, really awesome about the Worlds Lab thing is they have a proprietary format that you can convert everything to called a .rad. And in that .rad, it comes with the ability to do things like levels of detail, and also it's able to do different rendering resolutions, but the foveation's built in. So I think that if I get foveation, like if even a fixed foveation built in, I can probably hit 72 frames a second. It works phenomenally on Apple Vision Pro though. It matches what I see on my M5 Mac, which makes sense because it's the same chipset. So yeah, it hits over 90 frames a second on Apple Vision. And I haven't really visited this project in a few weeks. So if you try it and it doesn't work, I will make it work soon.
Okay, okay. Let's make sure that it is ready by the hackathon because hackathon we will
Yeah.
definitely try out this, and David will be with us also at the hack. So for those who want to meet in person, hackathon will be the perfect opportunity. Some people are asking, would you be able to share some of your splats or any splat library that you recommend?
Yeah, send me a link. I think that like some of the stuff I did while at Luma is technically property of Luma, and so like the bulk of my splats are owned by them. But I probably have a few thousand that are sitting on a hard drive, and I think at this point the goal is to just open source them. And so if there's somebody who also knows how to open source projects, I'm kind of new to this. I would love to just get a bunch of these splats and maybe even the reference images or the source videos. I'd love to just open source a lot of that because they're doing nobody good if they're sitting on my hard drive.
Yeah, exactly. So let them be used at least for training purposes or other things. Yeah, that's amazing. Scott asks, while the transition and play effects are amazing, have you got a goal, such as game, that would like to a player through such an environment change, like a time travel game?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, all roads kind of lead to Instagram. And so, first and foremost, I want to be able to just like take a photo or take a video and make a splat out of it and then do some cool morphing effects because that's what's gotten me the most views on Instagram. So it's a little like just basic goal. I think in the long term though, I want to be able to like go to events. I'm very active in the festival community and stuff. And I think it would be awesome to walk up to events and like do like real real-time manipulation or fake real-time manipulation where you like scan the space and then put people in it and then start doing like crazy psychedelic effects in real time on top of it. I think the main goal for me is definitely like more of a psychedelic vibe because I like the idea of taking reality and melting it and morphing it. But I think that overall, a lot of that just comes to from, like I said, just getting views on Instagram. People like watching things they're familiar, get defamiliarized.
Amazing. What tool do you use to blend multiple real-life environment splats into an interactive world?
So it's doing all of it in real time. It's you can like right you could just like load up I'm not sure if this version has it, but yeah, like you can just like load up your thing and then it will do it. Some of this is like really geared toward XR, but yeah, the idea is you should be able to just like import a scene, import your splat, and it will just work.
But it says multiple real-life environment splats, so I think maybe one like a multiple splats, but coming blended into one interactive world, as far as I understand here.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably just like load in three different splats if your computer can handle it. And I do have branches where you can do that, where you can load in three different splats, set the opacity, and then modify the different like animation curves to switch between them. But yeah, for the most part, I'm working with like complete splats and then I'm messing with them in real time. You could go into something like Super Splat and like layer different splats into one like thing that's then hard coded, but for me, the magic of splats is the flexibility at runtime.
Amazing. Yes, I agree. Daniel asked, Luma AI, do you think they will come out again producing 3D GS?
I cannot comment on anything with Luma AI, but I would just say as a general thing, um, I think 3D GAS is about to really, really explode because I'm seeing every day a new vibe coded tool that solves a problem. And so instead of this being something that is dependent on like companies to make the investment, I'm seeing the community build the tools we need. I'm seeing just every day something that solves a real world problem. And so if we were to combine all of these tools today, we would have a really, really robust ecosystem. And I think that a lot of these things are going to start being open source and stuff. But yeah, no comment on Luma.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Like even in our hackathons as well, it's a perfect excuse to really close the gaps, workflow gaps. I agree with you. Optimization
Yeah.
gaps as well. I feel like this is also something that some people from the community should also put their hands into. Julie is asking, what tools do you use to get 360-degree object scans to later input into virtual worlds?
Ooh, so I'm mostly an iPhone scanner, but that's mostly because it's in my pocket. I'm like one of those, the best tool is the tool in your pocket. But I think the best, so if I were gonna recommend somebody to go and like get into this, iPhone is phenomenal for on-the-go captures, and every year I just upgrade the iPhone, so it's like a few $100s a year to just upgrade to the latest one. But I am a real big fanboy of the new Insta 360 Luna Pro
Oh,
or Luna Ultra that it shoots in 8K. It's about $1,000 pocket cam on a gimbal. It's super tiny and it shoots in 8K with like 16 stops of dynamic range. And so I've only had it for a week. It's only been out about a week and a half. And the splats I've gotten out of it have been just insane. They match some of my large stuff. For a while there, I was running around with a Sony FX3, which is like one of the best video cameras out there. It's really well known for its low light performance. And I was using a 12 millimeter Sony prime lens. The 12 millimeter Sony prime lens is like the best lens ever made for this type of stuff. And the splats out of that are pretty phenomenal. And I would record video in an uncompressed format. So every single frame was a fully uncompressed video, and I would just go through and pull frames out. Increasingly, you're seeing Insta 360 X5 pop up in the conversation. The splats that come out of that are very complete. It's best when mixed with a higher resolution camera. But yeah, the Insta 360 stuff's phenomenal. But the workflow is really clunky. And I think in the next few months, we'll have a few really good workflows. I know Splatica has been pushing that workflow for a very long time. And more recently, recently Niantic with Scaniverse. They have a
Yeah.
really robust upload your 360 video. So that one's working really well, but it's still a little clunky and it's big files. Like each minute is like a gigabyte. So definitely weird files. But the new anti-gravity drone from Insta360, Anti-Gravity A1, I think hands down that's the best platform to capture splats. Because the drone is flying, the lenses, the cameras are better than the Insta360 X5. And so you have like a flying 360 camera, and there's like when you walk, you introduce motion from your walking. That has none of that. It's like perfectly stable. And so when you go in and use a tool like Sharp Frames to actually query how sharp the images are, they're like off the roof. So I don't have one of those drones, but I know Insta360 is pushing it really hard with different creators, and I absolutely love the anti-gravity drone. It's one of the best pieces of gear I've tried in the last few years.
Amazing, amazing. So, building our own
Yeah.
grant.
Oh yeah. And then shout
Mhm.
out Portal Cam. If you have the money, Portal Cam is 1,000% worth it. It's not an end all to be all. It struggles with some like reflective like glass transparency stuff, but you can add additional images to help. But the Portal Cam, it's like it pays for itself if you're doing this a lot, just in the amount of time it saves. Because with the Portal Cam, you can confidently go anywhere and walk away with usable data.
Amazing, amazing. So, yeah, Portal Cam will be at the hack. So we are actually providing a loan 1 day before the hack on the 17th. Our team will share more details on Discord and in Notion. Let's see. I think with this drone shots, etc., I think we are really close to building our own Grand Theft Auto 6 maps, maybe. Who knows? So there's a huge opportunity there. Another question from Kumar. Slightly different question. Can WordLab train the captured splats and clean up to get the best?
I haven't visited World Lab in like a little bit because I've been traveling, so I'm not sure what today is. But yeah, most people I know who are using splats in commercial operations are just uploading stuff to World Labs and using simulated stuff. Because I'm mostly playing around with people in robotics, and in robotics, visual fidelity isn't the most important thing. It's like the spatial thing. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure what Worlds Labs is rocking today. I do know that the most common workflow though is to generate in World Labs, then edit in Supersplat. And so that's kind of like a problem right now. We don't have like a fully vertically integrated stack where you can do everything in one platform. And I hope that it comes out, but I think that some of the companies working on this, they're finding that robotics is a place where there's a lot of deployment here. So end usage tools might not be important as like generating bulk data to train robotics right now.
Yes, you are actually one of the probably pioneer companies in terms of robotics light field. So really looking forward to hearing a few interesting breakthroughs again. So that's great. So there's one more question from Dave. Do you work with VRS capture format or know of a good processor for it? What Meta's Hyperscape capture produces?
No, I've never used VRS. I'm actually not even sure what that is. Everything I've been doing has been pretty much straight .plys out of tools you know and love. Luma, Teleport. I use Teleport by Barrio a lot because they're producing really high quality captures in the cloud. I do use Hyperscapes, but I've stopped using it because they stopped supporting it. If you go look at my LinkedIn, actually, you'll see I was like climbing mountains. I like did one on top of a 14er. I like hauled my Quest 3 up there. I
Be
was
careful
taking that
in the
everywhere.
mouth.
Yeah. I really loved Hyperscapes. I think that they crushed it in terms of both the reconstruction quality and the user experience. Like anybody can make a great splat in Hyperscapes. But yeah, just the signaling from Meta is always a little complex to move around. You could invest a lot in their ecosystem and then one morning they fire everybody.
Yeah.
So like I love Meta, but it can be a little hard to feel comfortable investing all of your data and time into that ecosystem, especially when they don't have export.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Someone asked about the RP1. I think it's like a open meta browser that you can build stuff. Have you heard of RP1 before?
No, no.
Okay. It's like a browser, open browser. It's like a part of the metaverse standards forum. Leonard is asking, what compression algorithms for 3D GS do you like use? Are there open source implementations for those algorithms?
I really a lot of these are sitting on my hard drive, so I'm not taking and publishing a ton of them. I do think that the stuff that Niantic has put out, they're taking like open source things and polishing them and adding special flair. That's probably the best. It's been a while since I've even thought about that, so I can't even remember the name of that. I will say though that the .rad stuff that World Labs put out is really spectacular, and it's kind of hidden. You have to like process all of your splats through a command line tool to get them. It's not something that's like, obvious. But yeah, the RAD stuff is by far the most impressive like compression stuff I've dealt with in terms of rendering performance, getting all of the LODs and stuff. There are definitely some trade-offs because it generates like hundreds of small little files. But yeah, the .rad stuff is phenomenal and it runs so well.
Amazing, amazing. Some people on the chat wants to use your psychedelic stuff for their concerts, so be aware that if you see that in one of the concerts, okay.
Yeah, that's the goal. I have done some 3D GS stuff in concerts. We've done some stuff with Odessa. We've done some stuff with oh man, I'm forgetting his name, but it is extraordinarily cool to see splats on large screens in front of tens of thousands of people. I think at Odessa we did it in front of like 70,000 people. So yeah, that I want to see more of that. And if you're curious, there's a guy named Ruben Fro. Ruben FRO, he's been doing some really insane stuff with Anima in like really beautiful places around the world in the Sphere. The Sphere is also heavily using 3D GS. They have like a custom touch designer thing that splits the rendering across like 100 plus GPUs. So yeah, like it's really cool to also go to the Sphere and be inside of these splats.
Amazing, amazing. That's great. So Ellen is asking, is there a way to select a group of splats in a scene, duplicate them, move them to another area in the scene? Which tools is the best for editing splats?
Super Splat is the most approachable. Yeah, Super Splat. Um, my tool doesn't have any of that. I don't think World Labs has made an editor yet, or if they have, they haven't published it. Super Splats has kind of been the de facto for all of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And with the splat analyzer, actually, if someone wants to duplicate, there's also a chance, not with, of course, directly with the splat, but maybe you can do with Gen AI. I'm sure Nigel will show in a bit. So
Yeah, and I would say too, if like you're seeing something and there's not a tool for it, you probably could vibe code it. Like we're at that level. I was really late to the vibe coding game because I played with the early tools and I was like, oh, this is really buggy, but it got crazy about 3 months ago. And yeah, I really do think we're at that empowerment phase where the only thing really limiting you is tokens.
yeah, perfect. Does Morph Lab need a real world scan or can it start from something I create digitally? I think it's an answer is Word Labs. You already support Word Labs Marble, right? So it doesn't
Yeah,
need to be
it's
a real
built
world
using
scan.
World Labs, but you can import import any PLY and it should work. I would say that you should probably stick below 2 to 4 million splats. I'm doing like importing at 1 million splats and 4 million splats to get there. Those are like my two quality thresholds, and that seems to work on most devices. But yeah, you can import anything, and the goal is to like make it universal. I love the World Lab stuff, but I also really love real world scans. And I think in the future, the best thing is like a hybrid. You go scan something and then you have like your stylized versions of it that come from the generative platforms. And you take your world and suddenly, it's like Wild West themed or however. So like one of the things I was going to try to make with this was a time machine. And so I would go do like a proper scan of the room and then like modify everything to be like time specific. I'll
Amazing,
probably
amazing.
do that in the next few weeks. Yeah.
Amazing. Actually, Lucas Mirocha is talking next week and he will show the XGrids scan as well. He has a project is imagine that you have a real scan, but also the word model coming from this scan, and he's actually letting you to swap between this parallel universe similar universe at the same time and with a nice storytelling. And you will learn more about that next week on the 8th of July. So when flat solid surfaces will look nice in 3D Gaussian splat for the e-commerce products. Flat solid surfaces. Fidelity. Like when it will be, in your opinion, will it look good? Do you have any estimation?
Say that one more time, please.
Like when the flat solid surfaces will look nice in 3D GS, especially for e-commerce
Oh,
products, because they probably want
so
to put
yeah.
that as a shop or something.
So it boils down to segmentation. A lot of companies were like experimenting using SAM, segment everything from
Mhm.
Meta, and that can get that you can constrain the splats. If you have like an outlier, you could take it and say there's a plane here and constrain the splats and stuff. So realistically, I think the tech stack for that already works. SAM is not perfect, especially in complex 3D environments, but it's pretty damn good. And a lot of why you don't see more of that is licensing.
Yeah, yeah, I could imagine. Yes. Julie is asking, are there any companies that you really inspired to and want to create a creative content, and why?
Ooh, I mean, I'm really in love with what the Sphere's doing. I'm actually going to go there tomorrow. I saw some
Oh,
people saying they're in Vegas. Let's meet up. I'll be there tomorrow. But yeah,
amazing.
seeing the splats across like 100 GPUs, 200 feet tall is really, really cool. Yeah, I think a lot of this Ruben Fro, going back to Ruben Fro, that guy is crushing it. And yeah, I'm like really impressed with how he's been leading a lot of the commercial adoption with like different large scale clients and stuff. In terms of companies in the space, I think people are kind of quiet. World Labs obviously is building really impressive stuff, and I feel like we're going to hear a lot from them in the next 6 months. But I feel like we're kind of in the like cold part where we have a lot of really cool stuff that's being worked on, and I think everybody's going to start showing their cards. Odyssey, I'm very impressed with Odyssey. Odyssey, their CEO used to run used to run the engineering teams over at Cruise. So Odyssey just has really, really robust engineering, and I think you're going to start hearing a lot about Odyssey in the next few months. They just raised like $200 million plus, so I think that they're a big contender. But no, realistically, I think a lot of what I'm inspired by right now is the physical AI, which is why I pivoted, because I think that, SaaS platforms come and go, but I feel like in a year, there's going to be robots everywhere. There's going to be embodied things everywhere, self-driving cars, maybe longer than a year, but it's coming. And that's where I'm really inspired.
Which iPhone app that you recommend for
So
the
there's a guy
yeah?
named Michael Rubloff. He runs radiancefields.com, and he
Yes.
has made an app called Splat King. And what's really great about Splat King is it lets you go through and capture from multiple lenses on your iPhone. So you can capture a wide angle and then like the use the 1x cam to get your detailed shots, and it lets you capture both of those camera feeds at once. So that is by far my favorite app right now to do capture. But 9 times out of 10, when before Splat King came along, I was using just the regular camera app. You go through, you make sure the settings 4K, 30 FPS or whatever. But I was mostly just using the regular camera app and then DJI Osmo. The Osmo 6. And the real key to getting really good captures when using any sort of gimbal is to use roll lock. And depending on the brand, there's different names for it. But the idea is if you use roll lock, no matter what you're doing back here, the camera stays even and flat, and it removes all of the roll and pitch stuff. So yeah, most of the time I was doing that. The other one I'd maybe shout out is Black Magic Camera. I use that app a lot. It's a lot more advanced, but you can really go in and lock all the settings down, lock your exposure down. It is the closest thing to turning your phone into a cinema camera. So yeah, between just like those three, that's 100% of what I do on my iPhone. Teleport from Vario, they also have a really good app that has the visual feedback. Like as you go through and capture, it'll give you like markers. And that's something we did at early Luma, but Vario has taken it and pushed it forward a little more. And so if you're a beginner, I think that that's extremely, extremely helpful. But for the most part, yeah, I'm just kind of walking around. And nowadays, like I said, I'm mostly probably going to use the Luma Pro because that thing is just killer. Or a DJI Osmo Pocket. Those things are just splat machines.
Okay, amazing, amazing. I don't know how many years of experience, trial and error, knowledge we are getting right now in a few minutes. Thank you, David. This is really amazing,
Yeah, yeah,
tips for those who are
yeah.
starting. So, Dave is asking, word labs have spherical harmonics level 0. Can it work with higher level harmonics?
I don't think so. I think that again, I'm not a World's Labs expert, so I
Yeah.
would defer to them on that one. But I think that right now they're still mostly focused on building inference before they go all out. Like they're
Okay.
gonna get the inference quality, the quality of the worlds all out. But for a lot of the companies using World Labs, some of that stuff doesn't matter. But I think it's all coming.
Yeah, I mean, Ian from Word Labs will be with us next week, so you can directly ask that as well. And he will be also coming to the hackathon as well as a mentor judge. Daniel said, I have vibe coded a multiple iPhone camera scan to create a 3D GS, but don't have a 3D GS cloud platform. Do you recommend one? I tried Teleport.
Yeah, so I do use Teleport mostly because they're just putting more compute resources into their thing and they have some algorithm stuff, so it works really well. That's the only cloud one I really use. To be honest, like I just not a fan of some of the data policies of some of these other companies. And so Vario, they work with military and stuff, so they have a really, really robust European like privacy philosophy. So
Data
that's the only
protection.
one I'm using on the daily. That said, Luma's capture is still technically online. It's like hidden. You have to know the URL. It's like lumalabs.ai/web. That's still online. And theoretically, you can throw a lot of data at it without hitting a limit and it's all
Perfect.
free. So if you're trying to learn, I would spam that platform. You could like do 50 captures in an afternoon.
I hope we will not reach to their max cloud capacity after this talk. At least we know the reason. Well, would you be interested in Center for Humane Technology? We already shared LinkedIn of David. You can always reach out to him. Richard is asking, do you use Hyperscape Capture app? We already talk about that, and we talk about the scanning process and quality. Um, Perfect. One of the teams actually, Richard, actually, he is coming as a hacker as well. He actually worked on the prototype of Hyperscape capture at Meta when it was at Meta. So, but he left Meta maybe, yeah, that's the exact thing that you mentioned, right? Like, I think that's
Yeah,
important.
yeah. I
Uh,
do really think they're the ones to beat though in terms of quality and user experience though. It's such a phenomenal user experience. And like I said, I used it in really weird environments like on top of mountains in the middle of winter and it was like super robust. And the
Amazing.
captures came out real good. So um and the cloud rendering, they're doing the avalanche thing where they're also putting the playback on the cloud, just phenomenal. So I think they're the ones to beat in terms of sheer technical demo. But I really think that, technical demos are demos.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I see a lot of interaction inside the chat as well. I think the best thing to continue because we need to also go to the next session with Nigel Splat Analyzer. Let's continue the conversation, everyone here on the chat, with the Nigel session now. But next week we will continue. And for those coming to the hack, always we will continue this exchange in person this
Yeah,
time. So at SIGGRAPH as well, which probably you will meet with the greatest minds like David. But David, I really would like to thank you again because I think really we get like a maybe years or decades of like a know-how and trial and error tips from you. So so thank you for your time. I think it's a very nice opportunity. The good news is you shoot a lot of interesting topics. So we are also recording this session. This means that it will be available for anyone. So and anyone can benefit from that. Anything you would like to share before? I know that you have to leave, but anything you would like to share before the hack or any expectation from the hackers that you would like us to build? Because right after Nigel's session, we have a breakout room which we people pitch. Now they will actually talk a little bit about how they can build anything, any wish you have, so we can a little bit help as a community to close these gaps.
No, I mean, I'm just happy to see like something like this happen because, this is kind of a niche thing. Millions and millions of people have tried splats, but the core community is fairly small. And I think that if we want this to be a thing that becomes more commonplace to have like support in the tools and stuff, we just have to lead by example and show like these major tools what's possible. That way they clone it. But overall, yeah, no, I love the enthusiasm. I'm looking at like 600 notifications on my phone. That's wild. Um, and yeah, during the hackathon, feel free to walk up. We can go and do breakout sessions and walk around. I can give you the full on, here's my method of capturing splats. We can go on a field trip somewhere and maybe capture something cool. Yeah, I'm happy to teach you guys. Eh, because working at Luma, it wasn't just that I was going out and capturing thousands of splats, as I was troubleshooting everybody's splats. So
Wow,
pretty good
amazing.
idea of like what works, what doesn't, the common things people do, and yeah. So always a resource. You can always hit me up.
Amazing, amazing. And on the 17th, you will be with us. So for those who bring their scans from Xgrid's device, can maybe find you or Xgrid's team to help.
Yeah,
That's amazing. Yes.
yeah.
Some people I'm seeing
And
that. Yeah, go ahead.
oh, I just want to plug radiancefields.com again. I think what
Yeah.
Michael's doing for the community is really, really valuable, and that's by far the best place to stay up to date with what's going on in this
Amazing.
community.
Yes, Radiance Films is actually one of our partners as well. They are doing an amazing job. Probably we will have some kind of like a interesting article coming up from there as well in the next few days. Like we really want to work with the people like you who is giving back what you learned for years. So thank you for your time. And because of your interesting talk now, I see a lot of people planning to maybe come to hackathon just to meet with you and talk with you as well. So that's also another nice opportunity. The hackathon will happen on the 17th for those who haven't heard in LA, right before SIGGRAPH. So I think we will have another breakthrough moment for all these Gaussian splats with all the research, all the papers, all the hackathon projects being produced. This SIGGRAPH week will be, as far as I know, it was already Gaussian splats were already introduced on a SIGGRAPH conference before. I think it will be another monumental day for Gaussian splats and world models. So we are really lucky to witness that together in 2 weeks. Perfect. Thank you, David. And
Yeah, thanks.
hope to see you in 2 weeks. And Nigel is next. I know that some of you are waiting for the splat analyzer. Nigel, let's since we have another breakout room session in a Zoom meeting after you. So, how many minutes you think we can quickly go through that? Because next week we will also go in detail. Shall we aim for 20-25 minutes?
30.
30. Okay, let's say 30. Okay, so we have 30 minutes later, we will have a breakout session. But first, Nigel will share I think for me, it's one of the breakthrough because we already got huge interest from people, both people from using word models or 3D reconstructed scenes. So, Nigel, stage is yours, and we are really looking forward to hearing more how this splat analyzer works and how we can actually utilize it for our next project.
Perfect. Just set up everything.
By the way, anyone who would like to ask questions, we cleared up the questions, so feel free to hit up on the Q&A tab like we did with David. Great.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, but we see also your uh, video as well. Exactly, if you can close that. So exactly, just close that up. Perfect.
Yes. Now
Yeah,
it's gone. Or
perfect. Now you can slideshow. Okay,
once.
now if you can.
Now
Perfect.
it's gone.
Amazing. Amazing. Perfect.
Okay.
Stage is yours. We are recording this, everyone, just to make sure that this is also being recorded and will be shared as a resource for all the hackers. Stage is yours.
Yeah, welcome everyone to our workshop about how to turn Gaussian splats into structured and interactive 3D worlds. And yeah, I'm Nigel, Sense AI Academy instructor and also one of the mentors in the upcoming Los Angeles Hackathon. And yeah, let's directly jump into it. Just if you want to find some more information about our upcoming hackathon in Los Angeles, you can use this QR code to register for the event. It will be in Los Angeles right before the SIGGRAPH, where we also will have a workshop. Just to inspire you, what people already built with world models, Gaussian splats, and our previous World in Action hackathon. We just showed some of the winning projects or inspiring projects from the event. Yeah, you have here a project in mixed reality where you can change the entire real world into a splat generated world, which aligns correctly with your environment. Some example project where you can see where kids can paint basically pictures with Yumi, and it creates environments based on the pictures for the kids. And a couple of more examples. Here's some snowboarding with real world sensors. So you can combine it also, or some agentic command center, which we will have as well. And yeah, let's directly jump into the workshop. We will also have additional workshops next week about how to work with Gaussian splats and world models in different environments like Web, Unity, and Unreal. And also, if you are, for example, a XR developer or Unity developer, about how you can build native applications for XR. And there'll be one more workshop on the 9th July. It will be more about how you can build with the new Pico hardware and software. So they provide a lot of different tech stacks you can use, and we have a lot of cool news there. So you should definitely join. Also about the new Pico Swan project, etc. So yeah, directly before our hackathon, in front of the SIGGRAPH, we will also have a workshop. So if you're joining, feel free to join us there as well. That will be always a great way to connect already before the hackathon, meet people, and yeah, getting inspired. Just give this one more second. And yeah, let's directly start. So I already told you that we will provide different toolkits of how you can use Gaussian splats in different development environments, which you probably use, for example, Unity, Unreal, or WebXR. And it just makes it really comfortable for you getting started building, because sometimes it can be quite overwhelming to even just bring a Gaussian splat into your development environment. And with these kits, you can basically get started in a couple of minutes. And we have also URL or QR code here you can make a screenshot of and check out the repository later. And yeah, just as a small disclaimer, what we are building today, so or what we will show today, it's the splat analyzer. So basically, it's taking Gaussian splat as an input, and it automatically calculates the 3D positions, 3D bounding boxes of all the objects of interest inside of these splats, completely automatically without manual work. But how that exactly works, we will show a bit later. First, I wanted to give a bit of background. So there's some differences in these Gaussian splats with which we use here, and which is, for example, also output of a lot of world models we use. And we just wanted to showcase the differences shortly. So the traditional way, probably you know it, is that we have meshes which are built of points and lines, and or you can call it polygons. And basically, you have a lot of triangles which are building in the end the final object of interest. And that's how graphics, let's say, worked for several decades. And there's a different way of representing objects, and that's the Gaussian Splats. So basically, you have a lot of different points, and for each of the points, you collect with a lot of data you sample through videos or photos, or partly even with LiDAR scanning. You collect for each single point on your of your object of interest a lot of data, and calculate like a perfect representation of it of different angles. And yeah, that's this new format which is used. So now you would wonder, how can I capture or generate a splat like this? So there are several model or methods we can use. One would be world models, which we will show today. So, for example, word labs are spatial, where you just give a text prompt or image as an input, and it creates you an entire world in 3D, which you can explore. The alternative would be that you scan your real environment, like your home, kitchen, or any public place. And for that, you can use, for example, a LiDAR scanner, which is basically using lasers to detect the entire environment. And based on that, like you can see here on the left side, it's rebuilding basically the real world. For this, you probably need an extra device. The third alternative would be that you use photogrammetry, so image-based approach. So you would capture a lot of photos or video, which later will be broken down to a lot of images. And you use some AI techniques to, or also basic graphic methods to calculate all of these features you need for a splat out of it. And the advantage here would be that you can use the smartphone you already have, for example, and you just need to use some, for example, open source or free software like Colmap or Lichtfeld Studio, although Lichtfeld Studio is also using Colmap in the background. So that's the options you have, and we will share with you how it mostly works. So just for experts, we just want to share with you today the information that we will have experts devices at the hackathon and also at the pre-hack networking on the 17th. And you're free to use them, create your own splats, and you are also able to win a device to use it to create your own splats. And that's a really cool opportunity. We also created a short first scan of an environment here. And you can see that we already run the splat analyzer on it to detect the guitar, the piano, etc. And with that information, you can use later create your experiences based on these bounding boxes. The alternative to the scanning your real environment, like we said, is just to create artificial environments. And for that, we just wanted to share with you why or how does it differ a world model from traditional generative AI methods. And basically, with world models, we want to think beyond just pixels. So we want to give you the model the opportunity to create not just a single object, but an entire scene and environment. the world models in theory should learn about the environment, physics, the distances between objects, also the connection between objects, like the properties objects have. And in future, they should also be interactive. And that was up to now quite a problem. And we provided a way or built a way in the toolkit for you how you can solve that and build your first interactive worlds with world models. Yeah, and splats. So just as a background for world models, you can basically see 4 different levels of information in these. So the first one, quite obviously, is already existing. It's the visual layer. So basically, you have a visual representation of the environment. You can see it. It looks nice. You have lightning, etc. You can shape it. The second one is geometric. So you can understand the size of things, the form, and volume. And that is also mostly solved. So, for example, at World Labs, they create a extra mesh for the environment so that you know, where objects is and where volume is. And with that, basically, you can solve the third layer, which is the physics. So you can have physics interaction inside of your world. Stuff doesn't fall through the ground, and show some real behavior. Just the last layer here is missing the semantic layer. So except if you're opening it and really watching into it, you don't understand what is out inside of the splat or in the world. How does it the objects belong to each other? And we will show you more later how we solved that. And just to not mix it up, we wanted to show you that there's different ways or different types of world models. So the first one would be video generation. So basically, there's a lot of video models like Cdance or Sora, which basically only generate videos, which can be quite nice for some use cases, but not for all use cases. And that's why there's multiple different type of world models. The second one, for example, would be interactive world models. You probably saw already one or the other video of it on socials with Genie, for example. So basically you prompt a world and you can, for maybe 30 seconds, run through it, and the video model is generating with each interaction you do in there a new frame in real time, and it feels like a bit being inside of this world. But for example, it can have disadvantages, like if you return to the same point, that suddenly it looks different because it's not really reliable. It's just generating one frame after each other or in one order. The third one would be streamed reactive worlds. So basically, while streaming, it generates new parts of the world and increases the size, and you're basically feeling like you're living in this generated world. And the fourth type, which we're looking today into it, is the spatial world representation. So that's models or world models which basically generates entire splats where you have an entire environment which are really constant. So each time you open it, everything is where it was before, and you can really have build something on top of it, interactions with it, experiences, and so on. So now I wanted to tell you that not all of these splats, especially from the world models, always look perfect. So sometimes there's some manual editing, like you can see on the lower right, necessary, and we suggest you to, for example, delete unwanted parts or not good looking parts, you also call them sometimes floaters. You can just delete them like in Paint, I would say, and tools like this, Super Splat. You also have a QR code here. You can change colors. If the splat is too big, especially if you, for example, want to scan your own splat with X grids, you can suddenly have a splat of 10 million splat points, and that is quite big, especially if you want to run it, for example, just in the browser on mobile devices. So you can break them down by just cutting away parts you don't need for your experience here. And yeah, just to not hide it, there's quite some problems you can have, for example, with splats you generated. One is, for example, the performance. So if you have millions of different points and each frame you generate, you need to re-render them. That can be quite a lot of work for your GPU. But the advantage is that you really reach photorealism because each of the single points contains so much information about the environment that you can get really clear environments. So it's some kind of trade-off you need to do. The second one would be the polygon problem. So traditional engines like Unity and Unreal are, for example, mesh-based or triangle-based, like we already shared with you. So you need extra plugins or renderers inside of these engines, which can be quite some extra work. It doesn't always work right out of the box. And that's why, exactly like we already told you, we created this kits on GitHub. We provide to you for free so that you can directly get started with it. Yeah. So another point would be baked lightning. So in splats, there's not the kind of usual lightning where you have real-time light calculation and shadows, etc. But the light is directly baked into the splat. There's some methods these days which you can use to simulate lightning. But you should know that that can be quite some extra work and a limitation. And the last one would be the ghost world. Like you also can see in the lower right corner here, that if there's no collision in the splat, because collision usually is mesh-based, you would, for example, fall through the ground or have other problems with collision. And for example, in world labs, if you create your world there, you would have the opportunity to directly get AI-generated mesh additional to the Gaussian splat, which you can use for this type of collisions. And yeah, this graph we already showed you. I just wanted to share it with you one more time. So the first three layers, visual, geometric, physical, are already solved by most world models like world labs. And the only thing missing is like some type of semantic, knowing which object is at which position and how can I interact with that, what does this object mean, etc. And now we have the solution for that. That's why we built Splat Analyzer. So basically, you just upload your splat into Splat Analyzer, and you get this 3D bounding box like you saw it here. And you click on detection, and it basically detects all the objects for you and gives you a JSON file which you can use to use it in your application or experience to build something with it. So before I show it in action, I wanted to share with you how it basically works with Splat Analyzer. So we have 5 steps here. The first one is re-rendering. So basically, we place randomly a couple of cameras inside of the splat. And And when we rotate these cameras and get a lot of different pictures, probably like 700 pictures of the splat in different positions and different rotations of the camera, maybe 1,000 or more. And additionally, we create a depth image of each single camera so that we really get a lot of data about this splat. When we use any 2D detection AI, for example, all2, to detect in each of the single images we got from the first steps 2D position of objects. And then we use the already existing Boxer model, which basically takes these camera intrinsics of each of the cameras and the pictures, plus the detections we did with all the two, and lifts it into the 3D space. And that's how we get the accurate 3D position we showed you. And yeah, when these 3D bounding boxes are clustered for each object so that you have separate objects. And at the end, we get out the interaction.json, which is a collection of all the 3D objects in the scene with a label, position, size or scale of the object, and the rotation. And here's another representation of this pipeline, which is a bit easier. So you have a splat on the left side, you put it in Splat Analyzer, you get out a JSON file with the label, position, and size of each of the objects. And then you can do on the right side whatever you want with it. You can use the bounding boxes for interactions. You can use it to mark single splat points inside of the file. There's no limits for you. And we are really excited to see what you're building at the hackathon or in any way with it. And yes, because of time limit, I will overjump it. We have some type of inspiration already for you. Here, for example, we just told Claude to automatically from create with Word Lab generated worlds, detect specific things inside of it. For example, here the doors automatically detected and also the box. So you first need to go to the box and find the key, and then you're allowed to go through the door until you come to this new world, also generated by Word Labs. And there's a portal which was also detected with our pipeline. And so basically now you can really just describe the experience itself. You don't need to do any manual annotation anymore in your splat, and you just get out an experience like that. We also built, Johannes built this experience of it, where he's analyzing like a really big splat from a view from ahead of a city, or also on a kitchen table, he is detecting different ingredients you can use in real life, for example, and for example, can use it here for some kind of cooking experience, for example. And there's one more example Johannes built with it, and it's the spatial semantic connection. So additional to just getting the position of each of the object in the splat, he built some connection between each detection. So for example, that you know that the coffee table is standing on top of the carpet, that the Christmas tree is on top of the table over there, and so that you really get a relation between objects, which is really worthwhile as well. And yeah, from here, let's directly jump into the experience, and I will share some live work with you. You can also find the Splat Analyzer project on GitHub, and please feel free. I will open it directly here. Please feel free to also give us maybe under issues feedback if you have any problems, so that we can improve the toolkit for you even more. Actually, it is really simple to use. So basically, you could just take this URL and tell your Claude, for example, like this, use please the splat analyzer to find locally all objects in my splat, which is here. And when you finish it, please open it in a local visualizer. And then I just describe what I want, for example, to find into it. And I would just run it here. It will maybe take locally like a minute or 2 minutes. And yeah, let's watch back into it in some seconds. So yeah, you can get really started easy. It is provided here for Mac. You can run it on Mac with MPS. You can run it on your PC as long as it has a NVIDIA GPU. And you can also run it as an extra server, which we would not recommend for you as just if you want to do something yourself. But for example, for our events we will do at the hackathon, we also plan to maybe provide it as an easy to use API. So that what would be what it looks like as an API. So we provide you with a web page. You can just upload, for example, your Gaussian splat. You say what you want to search in, how much cameras you artificially want to spawn in the scene, and you just run detections. That's now running on a server we have with a graphic card. What I showed here, this is running locally on my Mac. And let's maybe, for example, compare which one is better or faster. In this case here now he needs to first download also the repository and install Python, for example, you see, so it maybe takes a bit longer. Exactly. Meanwhile, I can show you another example I already created using the toolkit. So I just run before the workshop one-shot prompt. So basically, I just said here, please use the Word Labs API to create an office room in a jungle and a desk in it with a monitor. I provided the API key already for Word Labs to my agent. And I said that he should use Splat Analyzer to find the position of the monitor, for example. I said that he should use one of our WebXR toolkits so that he can create a interactive experience with it in WebXR. And I just said, please highlight the monitor and that the user should run to the monitor and type secret to win the game. So I hope it's still running. If not, I will just tell Claude to run it again. And yeah, that's what in one shot I got. So I didn't need it to tell him where the monitor is. The entire scene is generated with Word Labs. Opala. Now I was too fast. So I will maybe just restart it. So yeah, basically it generated this jungle room in Word Labs and detected the monitor over there. And if I get close enough to the monitor, I need to write here secret to complete the level. And yeah, with that, basically you don't need to give any instruction anymore or need to annotate objects in your scene yourself, but it directly creates experiences like that. After this example, we can look again if our local detection is finished. It is finished, but needs a second. Then we can look here back to our API. So that one was faster now. It's running on the server. And basically what we can do now, we can see here detected 14 objects in our scene. We can download the JSON file, which we could also open here, for example, and see the exact format. So you can see it's a normal JSON file where you can locate the bed, position, and size. Or you can also directly click this View in 3D button here, and it would open this extra viewer, which shows all the detections to you. And inside, exactly, inside, you can move around. And you can see that it detected all the objects you was interested in. You can see the chair here, the lamp, which was detected successfully. You can see a plant here, or also down here. Yeah, and there's some doors. You could in the API, for example, also detect or look which frames was found for each object, so which was part of the detection used. But yeah, that's the API. And locally, you saw that he also now for the same splat found 16 objects. He finished and he already opened this local detection in my web browser, which was this extra window, which was opening right here. And I can't move here right now, but I try to go in. No. Yes. So locally, he basically detected the same objects. We have a chair over here. We have a plant over here. The door there. And yeah, you can see you can run it locally as well. You have a books, and that is working as well. Exactly. So everything we basically need to say or do is taking this URL of this splat analyzer, putting it in your agent, Claude, Cursor, Codex, etc., and just talk about what you wanted to detect and which type of interaction you should build with it. And if you want to don't know which type of splats you want, you can just, for example, download some splats at Word Labs, like I did here, for example, with this room splat I just used, or you can use the API directly and yeah, let Claude do just everything. And yeah, with that, we are done with the showing the splat analyzer, and I'm looking forward to answer all your questions and yeah,
Perfect.
collect feedback soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Nigel. This is really, as I told you, it's like a really breakthrough. We have a few questions. We will finalize that and then going directly to the breakout rooms because many people now have more ideas than the beginning of the session, so we can already use that opportunity. It will be in another Zoom because we are opening up breakout rooms again. Our team is sharing the QR code soon. But in the meantime, let's quickly answer the questions. Is there a chance to get separate objects as BIM after classification as BIM?
I expect you that BIM should mean building information management or something like that, right? So yeah, if you have some kind of splat in there, you can also use this tool to detect separate objects inside of it and use the output. Probably you need to provide the output or some other way to bring the output into the BIM. If you meant something else, maybe just ask one more time.
Perfect, perfect. Scott is asking, I want to use splats and 3D models to inform CDance and other AI video generators what my set looks like and where my characters are. Right now, set design and character location can widely vary from shot to shot. Do you or anyone know what AI video generators are accepting splats or 3D models in this way? Have you thought or think of this before? By the way, Yeah, exactly. So you can remove the share screen, Nigel, so we can see you.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that should work, right? I don't know if I get the point of the question actually.
I think they are using the 3D models and splats as a way of feeding to the uh, set data so that they can use it. Yeah, it's quite complex. Scott, I think the best thing is come to our hack and then we will look into that because this is really quite a something that needs to be well thought of.
Mm. I think what he wants to do is basically to put a 3D model into as input into video generation and splats as well, right?
Exactly. Perfect. So let's continue. Is the analyzer tool live? Yes, it's alive. Our team just shared the uh, link. We can share one more time. So
Yes.
you will have a
Just
much.
just the API I shared or the web page is not available right now for in public to everyone. So you basically would need to run it locally. It's running on your Mac as well as on Windows, NVIDIA GPU-based systems. It's also running on older Macs. We had it running on M2 Macs, for example, as well. So I would not worry about that. Yeah, the API which I showed, we probably just provide to you per event.
Okay, so can we train the analyzer ourselves?
Basically, you don't really need to train it because there's two stages. The first stage is the 2D object detection, which is done right now using OLV2, which is a one-shot model, which can basically detect anything because it is trained on a really big amount of data and labeling. So you just need to put in any classes you're interested in, and it will be able to detect it in mostly all the cases. If you have something really specific, you would be able to change the 2D detection step model part, but that would be quite a lot of work because it's not intended to be like that. And the 3D detection part would be probably too hard to retrain yourself. Although the researchers which created this boxer model, which brings 2D into 3D, created a paper about it. So basically you can redo it, but yeah, it would be quite a lot of work. So just to keep you aware of that.
You're muted.
Sorry.
So,
Why old version 2 boxes rather than lifting some masks? Did you try the mask route and hit problems, or was it a simplicity call? I'm assigning Gaussians to objects, and masks seem strictly better for that. And I want to know if lifting masks is a trap.
yes, I would say right now it's two different workflows. So this entire model, boxer model is built with these 2D bounding boxes. So you can change it easily by using another 2D bounding box model, but having like an entire mask like you generated in SAM would be not possible or just exchangeable. So for that, you would need to train an extra model. So yeah, we got the feedback in the last hackathon that people wanted to have information about the objects in splats or world model type of splats were generated. And that's why we built this one. First version, early version, we are the first one who built something like that to give you the opportunity to bring automatic interactions into your splats. Probably bringing Sam into it would need a bit more time. A
Perfect.
bit more time.
Last question. Is it good for closed range detection or only, or for far object analysis too?
Mm, it should not matter. Uh, I don't know how the question is exactly meant, but if you can remember the example I showed in the beginning with the splat Johannes Chant from our team was generating, he had one time this kitchen example, which was really like close objects, where he was getting all the objects or ingredients on the table. And besides that, there was this splat really big of a city, which was partly burned down. And he was able to also detect the houses and the burned areas. So, yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much for the questions. Yeah, Pratik asked for the small objects shot from drones above.
Yes.
Perfect,
I
perfect.
would love to see the outcome of that.
Outcome,
So
exactly.
please share it
That's
with me.
exactly. This is really something that we will need to try out at the hack. Perfect. So for those waiting for the uh, like the rest of the breakout sessions, we have now the info session. Same link actually before. As you know, this is a webinar Zoom link, so it's for recording purposes. So we cannot create a breakout room in this Zoom link. But the good news is it is exactly the same link that you used before. So for those who are already looking for going to this session, our team just shared the link on the chat. The meeting on the chat, we have a Luma link that Rahel shared, or you can use the QR code here. And we have also quite a few people who wanted to present. So we want to who presented and who want to share the details. And you see the people here. We will go through that in the next few minutes. But please take this Zoom link, copy this, and then we are directly starting this session for those joining the hack. Thank you, Nigel, for your time, and we would like to see the splat analyzer in action as well. But now we have to check what kind of interesting teams will be formed in the next few minutes. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, David, one more time. And Nigel, we would like to see interesting projects and see you in the team formation session in the next few minutes. Please, we will close this chat, so please take the chat and copy the link from there because we will use that for opening the next session. Thank you, everyone.